Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Informed Advocate podcast. And I'm your host, Sharon, sexual advocate, mental wealth activist, and wellness consultant. And again, welcome to the podcast. And so for this week's podcast, it's a recap of stress busters, things that you can do to take care of yourself. And I wanted to pretty much reiterate the importance of a self caregiver, which is can be a personal caregiver or a professional caregiver. And again, a personal caregiver could be someone who is a family friend, and a professional caregiver can be someone who is in the medical field, a mental health professional, can be a teacher, they can be first responders. So again, in here at the Informed Advocate podcast, or should I say as an informed advocate, everyone is a self caregiver because in order to be a caregiver, it's important to care for yourself first. And so enjoy the recap of 5 ways that you can alleviate stress.
Trauma is deep breathing. That's something you're going to hear a lot of, and you may have already heard about it. And so, what I would like us to do is to take a moment to do some deep breathing. And what we're going to do is do it in increments of five. Deep, breathe in for five, hold for five, and exhale for five. And if and again, because you are the expert. That's the other thing. You're an expert too. You're an expert of you. You're an expert of your mind. You're an expert of your body. You know what works. You know what doesn't work. And so if five is not enough, you can go up. And if you want to go less, let's say three, for a count of three, then you can do that as well. It is really up to you. So let's take a moment. And if you're sitting down, place your feet flat on the floor. If you're standing up, allow your feet to be firmly onto the floor. And it's okay for you to lie down. Um, I'm not going to say wherever you are, but lie down where it's comfortable. And so the feet flat on the floor, and you're going to breathe from your belly all the way up to your nose. So again, for a count of five, hold for five, and exhale for five. And this time I'm going to count because I know sometimes some people, especially if this is your first time doing it, do like the count. And so inhale, one, two, three, four, five. Hold, five, four, three, two, one. Exhale through your nose. One, two, three, four, five. Let's do this again. Inhale. One, two, three, four, five. Hold. One, two, three, four, five. Exhale. One, two, three, four, five. Now this time, I want you to do it on your own again. So inhale, hold, exhale. Now this time it's going to be completely on your own. I would say inhale, Inhale. Yes, and that is deep breathing. And do that whether it's a count of 5, whether it's breathing in 5 breaths, because again, we just did it for a count of 5, breathing in for 5 breaths, and then, hold it for a count of 5 and breathe out for 5 breaths. And so you can do it that way as well. You can do, for 5 minutes, you can do the 5 seconds, you can do 5 count, you can do it for 5 minutes. I say do it for 5 days and really see how that is benefiting you or not. And like I said, you can make the adjustments in the numbers if you like. And for some people, 3 is good and 3 is fine. And for some people, 5 is good. And for some people may want to go higher, go 6, 7, 8. You do what is best for you. And so another thing is to move with intention. And so moving can be in dancing, and it can be in exercising, it can be in walking. Again, whatever you do it with intention. And the other thing I want to add to this is that even though we're talking about movement, but another thing that is really good for relieving stress and for dealing with trauma is restorative yoga. Restorative yoga is really, really good. Dr. Gail Parker, she's written a wonderful book. So look her up, and I always have to look at the title. And so I know it's race-based trauma and stress, restorative yoga for race-based trauma and stress. And again, look up Dr. Gail Parker, and actually she has 2 books now. The first one is really good, and the second one is even more so because it puts into practice of how to deal with racial trauma, in which she defines, I'm saying she defines it, which is true too, but also just in general, racial trauma is not only for people of color, but it's also how it impacts everyone. And so that's another way of alleviating stress and in dealing with trauma too. And so again, and when it comes to, managing things, become aware of your awareness. And that what that means is to notice yourself, notice your body. Because you remember, we were talking about the definition of stress and the definition of trauma. They all talked about the body and they talked about the nervous system. And so pay attention, because one thing I even noticed about myself, I didn't always put 2 and 2 together, but the more I learned, especially about just different ways of healing and things like that, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, that is what stress is, because we do feel it in our body. I remember one time at work, there was a lot of, I would say it was really, really busy. And then it was almost like when I came to a time to pause, I really felt like, I was like, I always felt like I got beat up, You're like, do I know what it feels like getting beat up? So long ago, right? I wouldn't say getting beat up, but felt like something was hitting on me. And I'm like, oh, this is what stress is. And a lot of times what happens, especially in a work environment, we just move on. And then that is where I started. I was like, oh, I need to take a 2-minute breather, So if your job allowed you to actually take a 2-minute breather, meaning, where you can step away from a situation, from your job site, even you can go to the bathroom for 2 minutes and just be able to sit there. If you need to still be there, hopefully, you can get your mind in a space where you check out for 2 minutes. And it can be 3 minutes, I would say whatever your job may allow. The other thing is that to be mindful of the present moment is know that you are here right now, just like you're listening to this wonderful podcast, which is informing you about things so you can make informed decisions about your health and about your well-being, or you can support someone else in making those decisions because there are options out there. Yes, they are. So be mindful of the present moment. And one way of being in the present moment is to breathe deeply. So continue to breathe with me. Remember that. And the last thing is to just be with whatever it is that comes up, whether it is sadness, whether it is anger, whether it is grief, whether it is happiness and joy, is to be, because this is how we're able to live a fully lived life. And a fully lived life is everything that it encompasses, the good, the bad, and the ugly as well. And to just be and accept and know that you are human with everything that you're going through, that you are not alone, and that the Informed Advocate podcast will be sharing so many different things for you to learn, to educate you about how you can care for yourself and how you can help support others. But it starts with you taking care of yourself first. So thank you for joining me for this episode of Informed Advocate. And remember, join us on YouTube as well. And you can also go to our parent company, to our website to see what's happening when it comes to workshops and training and conferences. And if you have any specific questions, by all means, email us. And so until next time, affirm yourself. Know that you are informed. And just breathe with me. Thank you for joining.